With you here this morning. This is a different thing that I'm doing this morning. I think the first time I've ever done it, and that's like a little two-parter, totally unrelated, but I hope at the end of each segment, you're going to say, how great is our God? And I'm going to speak about that in a short while, but before we do that, Debbie told me some really amazing news this morning, disturbing news, and that is this, that Clyde's sister, we know we've been praying for a long time, she's been due for a kidney transplant for a very long time. And if you remember last time she was scheduled, and then days before she was about to have this transplant, she fell and broke her leg. Now, folks, this is hectic because she has dialysis every day. They live out in a farm. It's a huge thing. So this has been delayed for many, many months. And so Tuesday is the day. This coming Tuesday is the day she's set for her transplant. And guess what? Her husband has just been diagnosed with COVID. They've delayed the whole thing again. So please be remembering Deborah and Patrick and their family at this time. Myrtle, is this the first time you're back since your travels? Nice to see Myrtle with you. Of course, Myrtle and Cynthia were overseas for 3 months, and they're back with us now. It's great. I want you to notice, to know this, that Myrtle is our local kleptomaniac. You just need to know that. When she came out of the airport, I love this story. She came out not only with, because she flew from Dubai, not only with, the baggage, her own baggage, she came out with other people's stuff as well. And as her preacher, I had to say, Myrtle, you cannot do that. Now, it was fun, and it was one of those things that we all do. You know, you get all these bags, they all look the same. Myrtle, it's fantastic to have you back in this country. Folks, how great is our God? I am stunned every time I look at stuff and consider stuff regarding our solar system. Show us the next slide, if you would. This always boggles my mind because our Earth feels so massive. It's huge. And yet when we consider it in conjunction with, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn. We're this tiny little place here. And there is the size of our sun. Of course, there is Mercury. Have all of you seen that little WhatsApp thing that is going around this week? That there's the sun. Durban sits around about there. And then there's the Earth over here. So that's exactly kind of the way it's been feeling with our heat right now. But our God, He put this into existence. We will have a look at some scriptures in a short while. Bring up our next slide, and this just absolutely boggles my mind. There are approximately that many stars. Now, folks, my education is limited. So let me tell you, 1,000, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. I did write it down, what I could remember. I don't know. So we've gone out there. That's approximately the stars. And probably more planets than stars. These are bodies that fly around the stars. Okay? Yet in all this immensity, there is only one planet we know of where life exists, and that's God. And I know they're trying to find water here, and they're going to Mars, going all over the place, and I don't know if they will find anything, but you know what? God created just this perfect environment where He could see, let there be. And God made the earth and all those other things, and He spoke it into existence. And yet some people think that this has happened because of a Big Bang. You have to have more faith in a Big Bang than you have to have in a creation. Look at the next one. This next picture is a picture of, our Oxford Dictionary. The ones that you have at home, that's the concise Oxford Dictionary. That's the normal words that we use on a daily basis. But the Oxford Dictionary is volumes. It is absolutely volumes. Now, no one in their right mind could ever believe that this came into being by poof. Something went bang and we had this entire volumes of the Oxford English Dictionary. It's unimaginable. I mean, how stupid you would have to be to think that the dictionary, A, all the way X, Y, Z, and all the derivatives and all those words would have been just in place by some explosion. Yet people believe the world, which is infinitely greater, came into being by an explosion. How is that possible? How can you even go there with your mind? Have a look at this next slide. Let me tell you about this. This is man. And God created man on what day? Sixth day, God created man. Remember, on the seventh day, he rested, had a bra. Anyway, so man. The man in any individual persons is made of around about 3.1 billion bits of information. That's in one person. And you know, if you had to take those billion bits of information, and for every bit of information was a word. If you had to write out those words on an A4 page, 500 words per page, it would take about 600,000 pages just to write out that DNA code for one person. And of course, for one person, it's different from everybody else. And there's how many people on this planet? Around about 6 billion. You know what? All the encyclopedias in the world, you put them together, all of them, not just an Oxford Dictionary, but all the other encyclopedias of the world, you put them together, wouldn't come close to the pages describing man. How is it possible? How is it absolutely possible that that just happened because of some explosion? Let me show you this. Let me ask you this question. Do you know which is the deepest place in earth? What is the deepest place on earth? It's called the Mariana Trench. It's off the coast of Guam. If you go to Australia and you travel north, you might get it. It's east of the Philippines. It's in the Pacific Ocean. And right from here, from the bottom of the Mariana Trench to the surface there, 11 kilometers. 11 kilometers. The pressure down there is about 1,082 bar. Remembering you put 2 bar pressure, 2.5 in your car tires. There, the pressure is, can't even begin to imagine it. The temperature, see temperature down there? Between 1 and 4 degrees centigrade. Let's have a look at the next slide. You recognize this place. This is our famous Mount Everest. Mount Everest is, I wrote 8 kilometers, it's 9 kilometers, it's actually 8 point something kilometers high. From the sea level to the top, just under 9 kilometers high. Let's have a look at the next slide here. If you put them together, there's the Mariana Trench. I'll put it there. And this is Everest. Of course, not as high as the Mariana Trench is deep. And you can see, listen, this is where the Titanic sits in about 3,800 meters of water. Okay, just the top little piece of there. According to Mariana Trench, if it was in the Pacific by Mariana Trench, it would have sunk a lot lower. It's amazing how deep some of the whales can go in our, can dive in our sea. The Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building in Saudi Arabia, 830 meters, 830 meters deep. It's just mind-blowing. Here's the thing that we need to consider. It is so minuscule in compared to the cosmos. Let me put it this way. If you went to the top of Mount Everest and it was right over the top of the Mariana Trench, you can get in a car, and if you traveled 100 k's an hour, you'd get right to the very bottom place on earth in 19 minutes. It's nothing. It's nothing. It is mind-blowing. And yet, for us, it seems so massive. If you could reach with a cosmic finger, you were sitting on another planet, and you could reach with your big God-designed finger and put it and feel the globe of our world, it would feel as smooth as a billiard ball. The grooves on your finger wouldn't be able to tell the difference between wet and dry, and the bottom of the trench and the highest point in Mount Everest. But if this has been messed with us in our mind, because at school, remember you had that globe, and they said this is the Himalayas, and this is this. Feel how high the Himalayas are. I mean, when you compare it to what God spoke into existence, it's nothing. And yet every single person that God created has a different fingerprint. What is man that you are mindful of him? Look at Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 8. Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk in it. No, something doesn't go poof and there we are. There was a creator, a genius creator who spoke us into existence. Isaiah chapter 40, 21 and 22, do you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been told to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is He who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. Chapter 45 of Isaiah said, I made the earth and created man on it. It was my hands that stretched out the heavens, and I commanded all their hosts. We can talk about that some other time. The psalmist said, when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, Lord. What is man? What is man that you are mindful of him? It was used, cosmos, with those as like grains of, smaller than grains of sand, walk upon this planet. Lord, how come you are mindful of us? That you'd give your only son to die for us? Human beings, that you care for them. You have made them a little lower than the angels and crowned them with glory and honor. Psalm 8, you made them rulers over the works of your hands. You put everything underneath their feet, all the flocks and the herds and the animals of the wild, the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea, all that swim the paths of the seas. How great is our God. Psalm 19 verse 1. Folks, we're going to sing this song in a moment or two. Psalm 19 verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. You don't believe in a God? It's because your eyes are not open. Just look and try and explain it any other way than there was a creator that just spoke this into existence. Psalm 8 and verse 3 and verse 9. Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth.